Good morning. So today is the 1st of October, and I'm embarking on a new little journey that is practicing mindfulness for 30 days. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I want to start doing this. First is because I struggle with anxiety. And I find that as I grow older, as I have a lot more responsibilities in life, it's progressively getting worse. I've had a lot of people actually telling me to try mindfulness, and I did, but not consistently, and therefore I never saw results out of it, and therefore I just kind of chucked it up to the side and just said that it didn't work. Now I want to try doing it every day for 30 days and see if it does anything, honestly. I'm gonna start with try to describe what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is a state of mind that focuses on determining and acknowledging what we are feeling in the present moment without passing judgment on what we are experiencing.
The way I see it is a simple practice of awareness, not so much consciousness, because consciousness is basically awareness with a purpose.
Mindfulness it is a state of mind. I'm going to start personally, I'm going to start practicing it through meditation. So it's mindfulness meditation. So it's basically just you have to set aside your time. I think ideally you'd have to set aside your time for 5 minutes and you just observe, just focus on the present. If you find your mind wanders to the future or the past, observe it as it goes. It's almost like you're watching a fly on the wall. You know how you just like observe it? That's how you should be. And don't pass judgments on those thoughts on yourself. After I do this, I sit down and I sort of jolt down all of the thoughts, all of the future or past thoughts that passes through during my meditation, and sort of just like let it go and bring yourself back to the present. So I'm gonna try that, but because I'm just starting out, I'm gonna attempt to do 3 minutes, 3.5, and see how I go. So yeah, this is day one. This is the first week check-in, and I'm not even gonna lie, like I haven't really felt any changes. Sort of like setting aside that time in the morning to meditate is not something I'm used to. So I haven't really been consistent in the sense that like I haven't been doing this just in the morning. Like sometimes I don't do it in the morning and then I do it like before I go to sleep or whenever I remember. And on top of that, I don't know if I'm doing it correctly. It's just because I'm the way I do it, and like I've read through like a couple, and to my understanding, like the way I do it is through counting my breaths, and that essentially what they'll do is for you to focus on something other than the thoughts that's going on in your mind. So that's what I've been trying to do. And also, I went to my therapist a couple days back and I told her about this, and she told me one thing that I thought was very important that everyone should keep in mind when they're trying to practice mindfulness is during mindfulness practice or meditation, you want to empty your mind. I think that is where I get caught up on, and that is why a lot of people fail, because it's impossible to empty your mind. That's not a thing. So, mindfulness is that, to be mindful. And that was something that was hard for me to grasp because I'm not used to it. And just like any other times where you're learning something new, sometimes during like when you're not used to it yet, you don't really get it. I personally have always just kind of rejected it. I mean, this is only the first week, so of course it's not like, hopefully, as the time goes, I'll start to feel like changes here and there. Like, even though they're little, I don't know, hopefully it'll work. Hopefully I'll see changes. I'm gonna try to be consistent and do it at around like roughly the same time range every day. So yeah, that's the week 1 check-in. Second week update of the 30 day of mindfulness experiment. I have been more consistent in the time frame. In all honesty, I'm still not feeling a lot of differences, but I did notice that I was slightly more calm than usual. And I started noticing that my mind wanders less into the future, but that's about it. I mean, to be fair though, this week has been relatively calm in a sense that I didn't have any significant deadline or I wasn't under any stress. This is something that I should probably discuss. I heard stories from people that are doing mindfulness that when they have started doing it, they could only do it for like a minute max. And I've been doing it 3 to 5 minutes daily, and I don't have trouble with that at all. Again, that stems from my lack of understanding of whether or not I'm doing it right. I wasn't really struggling with like the length of the time that I have to do it, but yeah, I feel like that was worth noting. And I've also started to track down my modes more often. But yeah, and I mean that would have helped in me, seeing whether or not there's a pattern, and if I do have like a panic attack, are the triggers similar and whatnot. So yeah, that was the second week update. Okay, so this is update on week 3. I don't know if I can attribute this to mindfulness 100%. Just like a little disclaimer. Because again, once more, I still don't know if I'm doing it right. But what I can tell you is since this is week 3, for me, this is week 12. And week 12 means that there's a lot of final assignments that needs to be submitted. And there are also a lot of exams and take-home exams that are happening around this time. I just am not a confident person, and I don't believe that I have the capabilities of doing it, I guess. What I'm trying to say, I'm usually like a mess and a half during this time of the year. But not so much this year, this time. Like I mentioned previously, there was like a one moment of like panic attack that I got too caught up in the moment, but fairly quickly, I was able to like, okay, stop. That's way in the stuff that you're thinking about is way in the future. I started to like sort of breathe and start counting my breaths, and then in the back of my mind, I said to myself over and over again, this is the present moment. You're not in any immediate danger, so you're fine. That really helped me in calming down, and I haven't really broke down like during this period, which I'm very surprised about because I'm usually super agitated and super nervous and super anxious about everything. Whenever I realize that I'm not breaking down, almost, that's so weird to say, but then I'm about to call it a night, and then I sit down and think to myself, like, hold on a second, I didn't break down at all. And I start questioning it a little bit, and then it's just like amazing to me. It's just like weird that I'm not doing all of that. And it's not like I'm forcing myself to not break down. Like it just happens naturally. And again, it's like disclaimer, I don't know if this is like 100% because of mindfulness, but I'm seeing the changes. Like I said, like the biggest changes that I can observe is that I'm able to whenever I catch my mind wandering too far into the future or like too far into the past, I start to like, okay, stop, breathe, and then start counting my breaths. And then it's just, I remind myself over and over again that this is the present moment. You're fine. Right now, you don't have anything to worry about. Not breaking down in a day feels really, really good. So I'm going to keep on doing it. And I'm so glad that I've seen changes so far. That's week 3. This is the final concluding statement for the mindfulness experiment. I keep calling it experiment because that's what it was for me. And I have to say that it has helped me a lot, but like I mentioned, in little ways. Again, I was expecting like huge, giant changes in my life. I think this 30 days experiment, if anything, it has helped me build a new habit. And the hardest part of forming a new habit is being consistent with it. After a while, it's not something that you consciously have to tell yourself to do. It's something that will just come naturally to you. If anything, that was like my biggest takeaway from the mindfulness challenge. It has helped me build a new positive habit. I have observed little changes in myself that I personally like, I personally enjoy, and I can totally see how this would help me manage my anxiety. Would I continue to do this? Yes. Again, like I said, at this point, it has become a habit. So one thing that I'll seek out is more information on how to do it properly. I learned that doing it consistently at a certain time was necessary to build that habit. It's just like you have to give yourself a range to do it. I think that's it. I'll continue to do it. So far, I like it. So far, it's been positive in my life. I wasn't, to be honest, I was expecting to see huge changes, but I was also a skeptic. Like, I was also a skeptic coming into this. And I think that was my biggest like mental block when it comes to doing mindfulness, and I think that's why I tend to like reject it. If there's anybody that wants to try this and you have the same mentality as I do when it comes to mindfulness, I think the number one key is to just do it without any expectations and just be open. I think have the no expectation part is necessary because you don't expect anything out of this. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you don't know until you actually do it. So that was my final thoughts on this. I have enjoyed doing it for 30 days. I will continue to do it. And yeah, that is it from me.